Okay guys, on to game 6. This is Kador Butcher 3 against Circle with Bradigus and the World War tier. You might remember me posting a video sometime back where I played Mosar against Bradigus and complained about the tier list. Since then, sorry, not Blizzard. I play so many Blizzard games these days and I go through the Blizzard patches. I'm talking about Privateer Press though, and these guys decided to nerf the shifting stones, as you guys probably know, where previously you could teleport a model twice using 2 sets of shifting stones, or even more than twice if you have 3, for example. But now you can only do that once, and this prevents Bradigus from, getting 30 inches across the board, kind of thing. Problem is, though, that it doesn't really specifically address what's wrong with his tier list. It doesn't make him any stronger out of tier. And it affects the rest of the Circle faction in general, where there might have been some situations where a weaker Circle Warcaster would have been a little bit more powerful due to the 2 stones thing, and not anymore. So I really disagreed with what they did. A lot of other people did as well, but there's not much we can do about it. It's been done now, and right now I've just got to focus on winning a game against post-nerf Bradigus, which will still be difficult. Scenario is fire support, I believe, where you got the 2 flags and the 2 objectives contesting each of the flags on either side. So you can see where the layout is in this photo. Let's go to the next picture though. You can see centrally I've got Saxon in the middle in the forest and pikemen on either side. My plan here is really just to wait until he expends his forests and then come in from both sides, bit of a sandwich there with the pikemen, and hope that the Devastator tanks a lot of hits in the middle, and just generally keep my army spread out a fair bit, because it's hard for him to get his Wolds into combat without reach and killing a lot of models at once. So I should be able to retaliate and slowly wear him down while keeping Butcher outside of Bradigus's teleport threat range. So let's continue. Next here we've got Bradigus having moved to the center, me moving around the side like I just explained. You've got Iris and the Widowmaker staying well out of range of the Wold guns, although technically if he wants to move either Watcher on the ends of each line to the sides, it just makes it easier for me to pick him off with the pikemen, so I'm feeling pretty safe about that. Also got Gorman there in the middle, should be really useful in terms of me sort of black oiling some guys. Gorman's quite hard for Bradigus to get rid of, so really happy that I've got him on my list for this one. Next up, you can see a bit of an image of his sort of layout here. He's got Bradigus in the middle with the shifting stones split into 3 different rows. Looks like he's going to be able to teleport Bradigus or either of his heavies at any given time with just a moment's notice. And the Wold Watch in the middle, just pretty hard for me to deal with at this point, because he can move his little stickman in between and create the gaps of the forests. I'm playing Black Dragons here, so they do not have Pathfinder, but Saxon can dish it out. So next up, you can see how he's done this. He's basically made the forest wall. Notice that the forest wall isn't so wide that I can't charge him once the pikemen get around the flanks, and they're sort of heading that way. So I'm not too uncomfortable with my position. What I'll do is I'll take you over to the next photo where you can sort of see what I've done. Just pay attention to where Gorman is. He's in the middle, closer to the bottom right. Gorman moved forward and threw his black oil. Now, obviously the forests prevent me from actually seeing the Wold Watchers, and of course the Wold Watchers can shield guard the black oil if it hits to the one that's going to be least desirable for me to need a hit. But what I did is I thought it was quite a good move. I ran with Saxon into the cloud so that Gorman could throw at him in the back. I actually rolled high enough to hit him, but even if I hadn't hit him, the point is that the black oil scatter might still have hit the Watchers because Gorman was so close to them. And then I can actually declare Saxon the charge target of the Great Bears, which allows them to get into combat. Of course I don't get any charge attacks against the Watchers, but the thing is that even with the 3 Great Bears going in like that, they're still going to be able to do some damage to the Watchers, who are something like only armor 21. So in fact I did do some damage, and these guys have precision strike as well, so it allows me to take out a spirit column on one of these Watchers pretty early, which is quite a good deal. Really don't mind if the Great Bears die in the following turn, because I've also run in with the Iron Fang pikemen, and they're just going to be able to sort of move in and mop up that central area. So happy that the plan is working so far. If we take another look at the next picture, he's followed up here and killed the Great Bears and taken out a couple of guys, but at this point, I've now charged in with the Iron Fangs in the left flank. The Devastator's been used to bulldoze the Watchers into more favourable positions, and on the right-hand flank I've actually nailed one of the Watchers with my other unit of pikemen, and that other unit of pikemen's taking longer to get to the middle, but they are the second wave. They're not needed just yet. Importantly, Butcher is hanging out right at the back with maximum focus camped, no upkeeps on Silence of Death, not even using it on the pikeman, because I don't really care if he heals. It's more important for Butcher to have 6 focus. The 2 Argus and the War Dog are body blocking to prevent any kind of shifts, so hopefully Butcher is safe. Let's go to the next image though. Here you can see my right hand flank. I've used a combination of the Iron and Holtz and the pikeman unit and the Kovnik to take down one of these Wolds. Of course, he's actually fertilized a couple of my men, so there is the forest. Saxon has died earlier, so it's a bit tougher for me to get through the terrain, but I'm still managing it. And Widowmakers and Iris moving around the rear to try and take out some of those shifting stones. If I can ever reduce each unit of stones to just 2 members, then I'm pretty much safe from Bradigus at that point. Next picture, you can see my opponent measuring up the Bradigus threat range, and by the looks of things, you know, he can teleport over there, use his feet, and beat back off the objectives and the Argus to get to Butcher. But I feel like even if he gets there, he's probably going to only have a couple of swings left, and it's going to take quite a bit to actually kill Butcher. So that's why I'm feeling fairly safe from it. Let's go to the next image. What actually ends up happening is that he teleports Bradigus over, which, you know, it was just marginal. He cleared that distance by just a few millimeters, and then uses his feet to come in and beat back and destroy the objective and so forth. But this small template that you see next to Bradigus there was the teleportation for the Wold Guardian from a second set of stones, and the plan here for the Bradigus player was to clear the way to Butcher by killing the objective and the 2 War Argus and the War Dog with Bradigus, just expending his fury to do that, and then attacking Butcher directly with a Wold Guardian. You know, 5 attacks from the Guardian, knocking him down on the first attack, and he's got synergy +6. So that was the plan. It turned out in the actual game that the Wold Guardian was slightly too short after it did the measurements. I actually had to call the tournament organizer over to actually check that the Wold Guardian could even teleport over there. He was only a sliver, you know, getting over there in the first place, so it was very marginal. Yes, I could have died, could have lost this game, but he just didn't have the distance. It was a little bit greedy, I think. However, looking back at the game, I thought that it would be a tough game on attrition. It wasn't. I was actually crushing him on attrition. It looked like if the game went a couple of turns, I would have tabled him. So with that in mind, what I should have done with Butcher is just move him to the other side of the battlefield, where he's behind a forest, and just jam up the way to him even better with, you know, more solos and the War Arguses and so forth, and just stayed in the absolute corner, just absolutely touch-toed the absolute corner of the kill box. And had it not been a kill box, I would have been completely safe. So yeah, feeling a lot more confident against Bradigus, and I think it's sad that Privateer Press just decided to put out a nerf that, you know, isn't going to calibrate him to be a good warcaster. He's just going to be too powerful and not powerful enough. I think it's sad. He was quite a well-designed caster initially from the outset, but the tier list is stupid, and he's not very playable outside of the tier list. So a beautiful model, but Privateer Press just really dropped the ball with this particular set of rules. I mean, they've done such a great job with a lot of the other warcasters that they're bringing out, but not this one. So I'm sorry I have to say that. Anyway, only lost 1 game this tournament so far. Effectively, next game I have to play the undefeated player, but we're using strength of schedule, and the new Steamroller pack are staying fairly close to it, and I don't think I can even win the tournament because there are so many other players who have only lost 1 game who will probably win the next game and have more more than I did in the strength of schedule. So a little bit disappointing, but that's life. We'll see you in the next game though.